Cancer, this reading only makes sense if you're actually listening to yourself while you hear it. Hi, love. It's Ira. And what I need you to understand from the very beginning is this. You haven't been confused. You've been over-accommodating. You've been adjusting, waiting, softening, explaining, hoping the situation would meet you halfway without you having to clearly choose yourself. This reading isn't about fixing anything outside of you. It's about showing you what shifts once you stop carrying emotional weight that was never meant to be yours. So just listen. No analyzing. No preparing your response. Let the message meet you where you already are. As I open your spread, Cancer, the first card that steps forward is the Four of Cups. And this card perfectly captures your current emotional state. You're not unhappy, but you're not fulfilled either. It's that strange in-between where nothing feels wrong enough to leave, yet nothing feels right enough to stay fully present. This card shows emotional disengagement that comes from exhaustion, not disinterest. You've given a lot of quiet effort, understanding, patience, emotional availability, and at some point your system just said, I need a break. That's why things feel muted. Not because you don't care, but because you've cared for too long without reciprocation. What's important here is that the Four of Cups isn't rejection, it's awareness. You're starting to realize that staying emotionally open without clarity costs you more than walking away ever would. And that realization doesn't come with drama. It comes with stillness. This card asks you something very honest. If nothing changed emotionally in the next few months, would you be okay continuing like this? Not for others, for you. Because your emotional energy is valuable, and this card marks the moment you stop offering it automatically. The next card that comes through is the Page of Cups, and this is where things soften, but not in the way you expect. This card isn't about someone else reaching out. It's about you reconnecting with your own emotional truth without filtering it. The Page of Cups shows that even though you've pulled back, your heart hasn't closed. You still want sincerity. You still want connection. But now, you want it without guessing games, without mixed signals, without emotional labor. This card tells me you're learning to express your feelings in a cleaner way, less apologetic, less indirect. You're realizing that being gentle doesn't mean being unclear, and that shift alone changes how people respond to you. There's also a message here about inner reassurance. Instead of waiting for someone else to validate how you feel, you start trusting your own emotional reactions. You stop asking, am I being too sensitive, and start asking, why does this feel unresolved? Then comes the Seven of Pentacles, and this card speaks directly to your waiting phase. You've invested time, effort, and emotional energy, and now you're evaluating whether the return matches what you put in. This isn't impatience, it's discernment. You're not asking for instant results, you're asking for signs of growth. And what this card shows is that you're finally willing to pause instead of pushing forward blindly. The Seven of Pentacles also shows something important. You don't need to rush a decision right now. You need to observe. See what grows when you stop nurturing everything yourself. See what happens when you don't remind, initiate, or emotionally hold the situation together. This card teaches you that your time is a resource. And once you stop over-investing, clarity shows up naturally. The fourth card is the Justice card, and this is where the reading becomes very real. Justice isn't emotional, it's honest. This card appears when something is no longer aligned, even if it once was. For you, Cancer, this means you're reaching a point where excuses stop working. You're seeing things as they are, not as they could be. And that clarity may feel uncomfortable, but it's also deeply grounding. Justice asks you to be fair with yourself. Have you been explaining away behavior you wouldn't accept from anyone else? Have you been adjusting your standards to avoid disappointment? This card says it's time to rebalance. And here's the key part. Once you choose fairness over emotional loyalty, the situation begins to correct itself, either through change or through release. But either way, you stop carrying imbalance alone. Now, as we move forward, the Knight of Cups steps in. And this card brings movement back into your emotional world. But not impulsive movement, intentional movement. This shows emotional honesty returning, whether from you or someone else, after clarity is established. The Knight of Cups doesn't chase, he approaches with intention. That tells me that once you stop tolerating emotional ambiguity, sincerity finds its way back in. This card also shows you expressing your needs without fear of rocking the boat. You're no longer trying to keep peace at your own expense, and that shift alone invites a different kind of interaction. Emotionally, this is you choosing authenticity over attachment, and that's powerful. The next card is the Nine of Pentacles, and this is where your independence comes into focus. This card shows self-worth that doesn't depend on anyone's response. You start feeling good in your own space again. You enjoy your routines. Your confidence becomes quieter, steadier. You stop checking for external reassurance because you already feel stable internally. What's important here is that this isn't isolation, it's self-containment. You're full on your own. And when you're full, you don't settle for half-hearted energy. This card confirms that choosing yourself doesn't make you lonely, it makes you selective. The seventh card is the Queen of Cups, and this is you in your highest expression. Emotionally aware, compassionate, but no longer self-sacrificing. You still care, deeply. But now, you care with boundaries. You don't rescue. You don't absorb. You don't explain yourself into exhaustion. You offer emotional presence only where it's respected. This card shows emotional maturity, the kind that allows connection without self-loss. And once you reach this state, your relationships naturally shift. Some deepen, some fade, without conflict. Finally, the card that anchors everything is the Moon, your card. And this isn't about confusion. It's about trusting what you feel even when you can't explain it logically. You're learning to trust your intuition without second-guessing it, to honor emotional signals instead of overriding them. And that changes everything. This card tells me that once you stop doubting your inner knowing, the fog lifts. You don't need all the answers. You need self-trust. Before we close, I want you to sit with this affirmation. I honor my feelings without guilt. I choose clarity over emotional confusion. What is meant for me meets me with honesty. If this reading resonated, take a moment to like the video. It helps more than you know. Subscribe if you want grounded, real readings like this. And comment below if something clicked for you. I'd love to hear it.